Thank you.
Okay, Sherry, did you kick me out or did I hang up?
I didn't kick you out.
Hi, I'm going to take a minute to pin the crew. Recording, and it looks like we're ready to go. So I will call the meeting of the St. Paul City Council to order. Roll call.
Yang.
Here.
Jalali.
Here.
Naker.
Here.
Prince.
Here.
Tao.
Here.
Tolbert.
Here.
Council President Brenmon.
Here.
7 present, no one absent.
All right, please stand and let's let Mr. Tolbert lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Consent agenda items 1 through 5 are before you for your consideration.
Is there anything off this vast consent agenda that should be taken separately this afternoon? All right, seeing none. Ms. Prince moves approval of consent. Any discussion? Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The consent agenda is adopted. Item number 6 is the final adoption of ordinance 21-19, granting the application of Pillai Builders LLC to rezone property at 385 Topping Street from B1 local business to T2 traditional neighborhood and amending chapter 60 of the legislative code pertaining to the zoning map.
All right, and this is for final adoption. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Tao moves approval. Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item number 7 is final adoption of ordinance 21-22, placing the classification titled Lead Victim Witness Coordinator in the unclassified service pursuant to section 12.03.2H of the charter.
All right, and again, final adoption. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, I would move approval. Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao. Councilmember, you're muted.
Aye. Someone's trying to call me
Okay.
on this line. Sorry.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Item number 8 is final adoption of ordinance 21-23, granting the Port Authority the authority to issue general obligation bonds to which the full faith, credit, and resources of the city are pledged pursuant to the provisions hereof and by authority of said Minnesota statutes, chapter 469 and 475 as amended.
Any last remarks on this one before we pass it final? Seeing none, Ms. Naker moves approval. Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
I,
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brennan.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The ordinance is adopted. Under item number 9 is first reading of ordinance 21-24, granting the application of the Housing and Redevelopment Authority to rezone property at 520 Payne Avenue, rezone from I-1 light industrial to T2 traditional neighborhood, and amending chapter 60 of the legislative
Hello,
code
this is Joe
pertaining
Blaker.
to the zoning map.
And Ms. Prince, are you looking for a staff report on this item?
no, I don't need one.
All right. I'm not sure what this the overlay conversation is. Anyone?
Not exactly sure. It may be someone for an item further down.
All right, I'm going to put a mute button on them. Okay. Let's see. All right. All right, so no staff report on this item, so we will lay it over for public hearing next week. No, not next week, July 7th.
Yes. Yes, it is laid over to July 7th for second reading public hearing. Item number 10, resolution public hearing 21-60, amending the financing and spending plan of the Department of Parks and Recreation in the amount of $448,214 by first transferring $238,214 in previously accumulated Twins contributions to the Twins budget in the grant fund, and then transferring $210,000 of this balance onto the Victoria Park Capital Project Fund for project enhancements.
All right, and this is a public hearing that we've held virtually. As such, Mr. Tao will move to close the public hearing and approve. Is there discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang,
I,
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
I,
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brennan.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 11, resolution public hearing 21-65, amending the financing and spending plans of the Department of Public Works capital budget to close out 2014 projects.
All right, and this public hearing was held virtually. As such, Ms. Jalali moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang,
I,
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
I,
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brennan.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 12, resolution public hearing 21-146, approving the application of Barbara L. Brown for a sound level variance in order to present amplified sound on July 3rd at Phelan Lake Pavilion.
All right, and this public hearing was held virtually. As such, Ms. Yang moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang,
I,
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
I,
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brennan.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 13, resolution public hearing 21-147, amending the 2021 city capital improvement budget in the amount of $5,825,372 to reflect anticipated funding from the Lower Phelan Creek project in the amount of $1,668,838, grant funding from the state of Minnesota in the amount of $4 million, and the use of $156,534 in existing city funds for construction of walk-on teepee at Bruce Bento Nature Sanctuary.
The long title winner of the evening. And Ms. Prince, I think we were hoping that we get just a brief staff report on this item. I saw Maggie joined us.
yes. That's That's excellent. And I see that Maggie Lorenz is here from Lower Phelan Creek Project, and Alice Messer, who's the director of our design and planning division. So thanks to both of you for providing us with an update about this great news in the nature sanctuary.
Thank you, Council President, council members. I am really happy to be here this afternoon. This is a really important milestone, working with our partners at Lower Phelan Creek Project. I really want to turn it over to Maggie. She has done incredible work to get us to this point of where we are starting to put the plans out for construction, and hopefully starting in August on construction of Wakan Teepee and Bruce Bento Nature Sanctuary. This project has been in the plan for Bruce Bento Nature Sanctuary since 2008, and really through our work with our partners at Lower Phelan Creek, we are at a point where an interpretive center honoring the sacred site and the indigenous cultures will start construction. So Maggie, I know you're coming from the field, but if you have a moment, it would be great.
Sure. Hi. I will turn my video on, but I'm in the car. As Alice said, I was kind of expecting that we were going to be having this item on the July 7th agenda. So I was actually out on an archaeological site with Prairie Island Indian Community today, and we're just heading back. So that was pretty amazing. But yeah, my name is Maggie Lorenz, and I'm the executive director for Lower Phelan Creek Project and the Wakan Teepee Center. And we are really excited to be at this point with all of the support from both the state, the city, our local foundation partners, as well as the national level with the National Endowment for the Humanities providing support for this project. So just incredibly excited that we have reached this point with the project after, more than a decade of work together with the city, the communities, and the tribal nations in Minnesota to develop the plans for the center. So I'm happy to answer any questions folks have at this point, but yeah, that's kind of where we're at, and we're just really excited to be here today.
Thank you. And we thought it was worth just looking at knowing how long this project's been in, the works and the dollars that are being transferred and moved around. That would be remiss to just vote on it and not stop to recognize this milestone. And so apologies that you were caught. Hopefully you're not driving. That's what I'm hoping, but I won't ask.
I'm the one driving.
But just, I think just really important to just acknowledge as we move, these long-term projects forward, when we make a big stride ahead. I think it's really, it's a good point to stop and remind people what we're working on and why it matters. So thank you for being here. Ms. Prince, did you have other comments?
Yes, thank you, Council President Brenmoen, and thank you, Maggie, for being with us today. It's been amazing to watch this project come together, particularly in the year and a half or 2 years that you have been our executive director. The fundraising efforts have been phenomenal. The work in terms of bringing the tribes into the project and bringing the whole community. I mean, this has been a long time coming, but every step of the way, it has just gotten better and better and more inclusive and more meaningful and more important for all of St. Paul, for all of Minnesota. So I can't thank you enough. And I should know this, you're not supposed to ask questions that you don't know the answer to, but is the $1.6 million the money that Lower Phelan Creek has raised, that it is bringing to the mix here? Well,
Council President,
Yeah.
Councilmember Prince, I think Maggie might be frozen. Maggie, I'm not sure if you heard the question, but the Councilmember Prince was asking about the private funds for the project, the 1.6 million. I believe that represents those funds coming to the project from private donations, fundraising.
because the fundraising effort has been amazing and really inspiring. So again, I want to thank the Lower Phelan Creek Project and thank our staff who have supported this project as it's evolved. It's a great day for Ward 7. It's a great day for the for our St. Paul Park system. So again, thank you, Maggie and Alice.
Thanks both. So I will take that as a motion to close our public hearing and approve. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang. Aye. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 14, resolution public hearing 21-148, approving the applications of the Minnesota United FC for a sound level variance in order to present amplified sound on July 3rd and July 24th within the street and the beer garden area at Allianz Field, 400 Snelling Avenue North.
Great. And this public hearing has been held virtually. As such, Mr. Tao will move to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang. Aye. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item number 15, resolution public hearing 21-149, authorizing the police department to amend the 2021 special fund budget to more accurately reflect the revenue and spending in multiple accounts in our 2021 special projects fund.
All right, this public hearing has been held virtually, and as such, Ms. Prince would move to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang. Aye. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 16, resolution public hearing 21-150, authorizing the Department of Public Works asphalt plant to amend the spending and financing budget for the professional evaluation, consultation, and redesign of the sediment pond for future operation.
All right, and this public hearing has been held virtually. As such, Mr. Tao moves to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? I will just add that folks have not had an opportunity to see the Public Works asphalt plant. Ask Mr. Kershaw for a tour. It's very interesting. It's very interesting, worth visiting, and it's a cool thing that we do right here in the city. So I will support your motion, Mr. Tao. Any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang. Aye. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 17, resolution public hearing 21-152, amending the financing and spending plans in the fire department in the amount of $10,732.31 for the Minnesota Task Force 1 team reimbursement from the city of Edina.
All right, and you might be tired of me saying this, but I'm not tired of taking Edina's money, so I will accept this, say that I approve this. I will move to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, and roll call.
Yang. Aye. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 18 is Resolution Public Hearing 21-155, ratifying the assessments for repair of sanitary sewer line on private properties during January to March 2021.
And this public hearing was held virtually. As such, Mr. Tolbert would move to close the public hearing and approve. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 19, Resolution Public Hearing 21-156, amending the city's 2021 sales tax special fund budget to reflect the final 2020 sales tax collections and to adjust several loan repayments.
Right, and are folks looking for a staff report on this item? If not, Ms. Yang would move to close the public hearing and approve, as we have held this public hearing virtually. Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed and the resolution is adopted. Item 20 is Ordinance 21-21, repealing Chapter 193 of the Legislative Code related to tenant protections.
All right, and this is before us for the final reading. Is there any discussion on this item? Ms. Jalali.
Thank you. I recognize that we've discussed this item at previous meetings briefly, but a lot of discussion has also happened in conversations with our city attorney's office and settings that are not public due to the nature of the matter. But I am speaking today because I personally care about registering my strong disagreement with rescinding our safe housing policy. And I've shared in a public statement previously why that is, but I'll reiterate for the same things that I have said, that I believe that our policy is worth fighting for, and that in the face of the headway ahead, that we have been prepared to advocate for it. And I simply believe we should keep going, recognizing the costs and the possibilities that that entails. I think that we are sending a message by repealing this landmark fair housing policy that actually undercuts the whole point of what we say we're trying to do by rescinding it. And I'm incredibly concerned about that. And I also, no matter what happens today, know that I will be very strongly involved in our recourse forward from a policy standpoint, because the pandemic has underscored more housing instability than ever for vulnerable renters in our community. And personally, I just can't support this action. And so I will be voting no. And I feel disappointed. And also I understand that we are in a difficult moment. I hope to continue moving forward as best as we can.
Thank you, Ms. Jalali. Ms. Yang.
Thanks, Council President. I wanted to say a few words just because I know that in the past couple of weeks here, we have gotten communication from people in the community and also organizers, especially who have been at the front lines of pushing for our safe tenant protections for a layover. And while I feel we don't have the votes for that, I wanted to take some time to really highlight why our proposed safe tenant protections was so important. It was a policy that was created to protect tenants from unreasonable eviction from landlords who could force them out without due cause. And the ordinance also provided an equitable lens that opens the door to renters with minor criminal records to be able to rent without facing discrimination because of their past records, and required landlords to provide a 90-day notice of sale so tenants can have time to look for a new place before their landlord sells the property. And I feel like these are all of the reasons and so much more, in our ordinance, why so many people felt a lot of hope and from from what we all collectively created together. It's why I'm in support of it, and also why I strongly oppose us rescinding our tenant ordinance. I really feel like what we have here is something that is worth fighting for. And just because we are on grounds that hasn't been walked before, it doesn't mean that we need to stop now. Like eventually in the future, when we want to bring an ordinance like this in front of the council again, even when that day comes and all of us are not here, we still need to go through the same process again. And it's so worth it for us to do that in the moment that we're in now, with so much people behind us and with us as well as we continue to fight for this. And so, with deep gratitude, I wanted to say thanks to all of the people who have pushing for this from the very start, and want folks to know that like I'm here in solidarity with you. I've seen your communication to the council. And I'm here to keep fighting with you as well. I also want to preface, I think what is so disturbing with all of this, why we even have to talk about tenant protections in the first place, is so rooted in the unjust systems that we live in that are about capitalism, about white supremacy, about making sure that the people who benefit are the ones who have enough to actually afford a home. And when we talk about housing being a human right, we shouldn't even have to fight for tenant protections in the first place, because it should already be something that is guaranteed to people, even if they don't have enough to afford their home. And for us, I think that this a rescission on tenant protections is so indicative of the ways in which we're already being swallowed by the injustices that we live in every single day. And we need people who are bold at the table, being decision makers who see through that and are here thick and thin with the people who are fighting for justice that all communities deserve. And it, felt like it's important for us to keep naming those injustices, because when we choose to ignore them, or when we choose to make decisions that are actually against what it is that our community members need, we're already losing in the first place. And so again, with that, I will not be supporting the rescission here, and I'm hopeful that we can continue fighting for tenants in our city and bring justice and liberation to them.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. Any other comments? Ms. Prince.
Thank you, Council President Brenmoen. I really appreciate the comments of Ms. Jalali and Ms. Yang. And the only thing I want to say is that I think whatever happens today, all of us are committed to getting to strong tenant protections as soon as we possibly can. And nothing that we do here today should suggest anything else. I can speak for myself as well as my colleagues, several of my colleagues, that I really feel that we did our due diligence on this. I understand the frustration of the advocates, and I appreciate the contributions of the advocates' attorneys in helping us ask the right questions and help to determine what our next steps are going to be. People will be disappointed today. I don't believe that anything we do today changes the fact that our goal is to get to strong tenant protections in Tenant Protection Ordinance 2.0 as soon as we possibly can. And it is our hope that the advocates and their attorneys will join with us to help us get to that ordinance sooner than later.
Thank you, Ms. Prince. And second, on especially just how we're going to move forward. I really appreciate those remarks. Ms. Naker.
Thanks, Council President, and thanks so much to my colleagues, not only for the thoughtful comments just now, but I know we've all been engaging in a lot of thoughtful deliberation over the last few weeks and months. And I know ultimately we're all here because we're concerned about what's best for the renters of the city of St. Paul. And I think what's become so clear to me throughout the past few weeks, and also so difficult for me about this decision, is that it's become clear that fighting for our policy and fighting for renters is not the same thing. and actually they're contradictory. So right now, for practical purposes, we don't have a tenant protections ordinance because our ordinance has been enjoined until we end our lawsuit. And I have been convinced by the preponderance of memos and the correspondence, the conversations, the thoughtful discussions with you, my colleagues, and with our city attorneys and other attorneys, and the back and forth, that rescinding this ordinance is the best way to end our lawsuit and get tenant protections back as quickly as possible. And from the conversations I've been having with tenants and with advocates over the last few weeks, it's also become clear to me that most people in the city of St. Paul do not care about rescissions, injunctions, appeals, settlements, or other legal jargon. What they care about is knowing that they will be able to find and keep a home. And they want to know that we in the city care about that too. So I want to be clear that I am voting to rescind this ordinance because I care so deeply about the tenants of our city and because I believe this is the best way to stand with renters to get a new ordinance on the books. And I am committed to doing that work. And I know that my colleagues around this table are committed to doing that too.
Thank you, Ms. Dinker. Any other comments? I see Mr. Tolbert's got a hand up.
Yeah, I want to echo what Councilmember Naker stated really well. I think the important thing is the path forward that we're taking today. Although a vote for rescission, I believe, is a vote for tenant protections because it will allow us to pass actual tenant protections at a quicker pace and sooner, so that tenants have additional protections than are already on the books. As someone who voted for this ordinance, I can tell you I'm not pleased that we will be rescinding it. However, based on the reality of where we stand legally today, I think sometimes responsible leadership requires delivering bad news or regrouping and thinking how we're doing things. And I think in this case, the important thing to remember is that as of right now, the ordinance is not in effect. It's on paper. It's not in effect. And as long as the litigation is pending, it will not be in effect. And the judge has, I think, made it pretty clear what his ruling will be at the end of the day, which means much of it will not be in effect based on potentially on his ruling. And we would have to continue to litigate that into the future while this is likely not in effect. I believe that that's really important to remember, that we are not rescinding an ordinance that is in effect and being implemented and being there. The tenant protections that we all pass, that we believe in, that our values are rooted in, are not in effect today. I believe that by rescinding this and getting the guidance of a case that will come back quicker from the city of Minneapolis, we can move on to add tenant protections at a faster pace, and that will help tenants sooner. And that is why I believe rescinding is the best path forward. I respect the differing opinions in this case, but I believe strategically, if we want to help tenants and renters at the quickest possible pace, rescinding today is the best legal strategy moving forward. So I'll be voting yes.
Thank you, Mr. Tolbert. Any other comments? All right. And I guess I feel like agree that I really appreciate everyone's comments and thoughts here today, and know that this is a challenging vote. I don't want to vote to rescind this, but I don't think that fighting for the tenants' protections has to happen in a court of law. I feel like fighting for tenant protections can be redrafting smarter versions, smarter legislation that will be enacted quickly and efficiently. But I also appreciate that it's challenging, and there is a desire to sometimes to just like to see it through till the end. But I think at the end of the day, as several of my colleagues have pointed out, there are no local tenant protections today, and we're leaning on what's available to us from the state and federally. And I'm really supportive of finding a way to move forward with tenant protections as quickly as possible. And I feel that rescission is the way to do that. So I will be voting in support today as well. Okay, and I'm looking to see if there's any other remarks. It looks like there are not. So I will take a motion from Ms. Naker to approve. Roll call.
Yang,
No.
Jalali,
No.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
No.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brendmoen.
Aye.
4 in favor, 3 opposed, being council members Yang, Jalali, and Tao. The ordinance is adopted. And we now have a suspension item.
I think is the one suspension item the one that's at the end of the meeting?
I guess I didn't know you wanted it at the end, so we can.
Yeah, I think at the end of the
Okay.
meeting. Okay.
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 The legislative hearing officer recommends adoption of the following resolutions as no objections to these recommendations were received. Item 21, RLH TA 21-266, 1411 Albemarle Street. Item 22, RLH BO 21-21, 732 Case Avenue. Item 23, RLH FCO 21-71, 821 Conway Street. Item 24, RLH FCO 21-87, 1065 Edgewater Boulevard. Item 26, RLH BBR 21-36, 276 Exchange Street South. Item 27, RLH SAO 21-26, 916 Eaglehart Avenue. Item 28, RLH RR 21-47, 1915 Ivy Avenue East. Item 29, RLH BBR 21-34, 95 Litchfield Street. Item 30, RLH SAO 21-42, 359 Michigan Street. Item 31, RLH TA 21-278, 817 Ottawa Avenue. Item 32, RLH SAO 21-45, 1728 Rowe Place. Item 34, RLH BO 21-22, 843 and 845 Selby Avenue. Item 36, RLH SAO 21-43, 855 3rd Street East. Item 37, RLH TA 21-256, 581 Thomas Avenue. And item 38, RLH BBR 21-37, 141 Winifred Street West. And the motion is to adopt these items.
So moved by Ms. Naker. Any discussion on the motion? Roll call.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brendmoen.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearings are closed and the resolutions are adopted. For the following items, no objections to the legislative hearing officer's amended recommendations were received, and therefore she recommends amendment and adoption of item 25, RLH RR 21-32, 134 Elizabeth Street East, and item 33, RLH SAO 21-52, 1352 7th Street West. And again, the motion is to amend and adopt.
So moved by Mr. Tolbert. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, roll call.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brendmoen.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. Public hearings are closed and the resolutions are adopted as amended. For the following item, the legislative hearing officer's recommendation is contested and additional testimony from the appellant is in the record. Item 35, RLH RR 21-45, 657 Sherburne Avenue, and there is a staff report.
Welcome, Ms. Mormond.
Good afternoon, Council President Brendmoen, council members. This is a making finding resolution. That means that 6 months ago, you adopted a resolution actually on December 2nd of 2020, granting 180 days for this building to be rehabilitated or removed. That action took place fully 6 months after I originally started conducting hearings on it. So there was a lead up of, rather than 2 or 3 weeks, of fully 6 months for those plans to be developed. So quite a long period of time to take into account life circumstances and some of the difficulties of operating during COVID. So now here we are in the month of June of 2021. The building has not been rehabilitated. The building has had 2 permits pulled for work, 1 plumbing permit, 1 electrical permit. The building permit has not been pulled. The owner has indicated that the building contractor with whom she signed a contract and provided that as a part of her work plan, that they are no longer working together. So we do not have a work plan that was submitted. The financing, she indicates, is problematic at this time. At the time that you adopted a grant of time, she provided evidence of $50,000 in financing in an account and signed an affidavit indicating that those funds would be dedicated for this purpose until the project was complete. Because you are making a finding about whether or not the nuisance condition is abated, and those are the circumstances, my recommendation to you is to find that the nuisance condition has not been abated. Secondly, the question in front of you is whether or not the project has reached the 50% completion mark. This is relevant because if it has reached the 50% completion mark, then you could continue the $5,000 performance deposit. That determination would be made by having a building inspector go in, review all of the work that's been done, and make a judgment call. The owner received a letter far in advance to advise her that this inspection needed to occur, and she did not call for that inspection to happen. It is extremely unlikely that the 50% mark would have been met because only those 2 smaller permits have been pulled, and by far the largest permit, the building permit, was not pulled. So just by virtue of that, it would be far underneath the 50% mark. Therefore, the council would be in a position of traditionally forfeiting the $5,000 performance deposit. Given that the work has not been completed and there is so little that's been done, and I believe the prospects at this point of it being successfully completed and realistic plans coming forward, I feel I'm in an awkward position of saying I have little confidence, and am recommending that you make a finding this has not been abated and to allow the Department of Safety Inspections to go ahead and remove the building and to forfeit the $5,000 performance deposit and allow that money to be applied towards the cost that the city experiences as a part of the demolition of the building. The owner's attorney and the owner would like to testify, I believe, to ask for the opportunity to be given a chance to develop plans and to move forward with trying again to rehabilitate the structure. On the line first is Mr. Joseph Blaker, who is representing the owner, Ishwin T. Mr. Blaker is in your team's meeting and ready to testify.
All right. And Ms. Mormon, before we go to Mr. Blaker and Ishwin T, can we just want to make sure, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Mormon? Okay. All right.
Council President.
Yes, Mr. Tao.
Thank you. Marcia, can you state again how long the Ms. T has had the opportunity to repair this?
Well, this has been a registered vacant building since 2017. And in early 2020, the city, in fact, on March 30th, the city of 2020, the city made a finding that it was a nuisance building, ordered that it be abated, scheduled hearings because that didn't happen. And I saw it first on June 9th of 2020, and the council saw it first on July 8th of 2020. The we then went forward and I conducted 7 legislative hearings between that initial hearing in June and when you voted in December in order that plans could be developed. So that is a pretty high number of hearings and a lot of legwork with the owner to be able to pull something together. So that is one of the reasons I'm coming forward now with a relatively low level of confidence, because we had done so much work, and having abandoned the contractor and the financing appearing to have disappeared, I don't know where to go with this at this moment. So that's what I would need to see, a lot of new positive information, the ability to move forward with this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wanted to ask that for the record because I wanted to verify that the owner had opportunity to work on the building or the property prior to the pandemic, and so it seems like there was a 2-year gap there, 2 or 3 year gap there where the property owner had a chance to work on this vacant building. So, thank you.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Tao. It's helpful. All right, so why don't we turn things over to Aishwin T. and the attorney. I apologize, I don't remember. Mr. Brandel?
Mr. Blaker is in the
Blaker.
meeting.
He's muted.
And his number is a 952 number ending 3166.
Yeah, it looks like he's muted. Although I just heard him speaking a moment ago.
If you could unmute yourself, perhaps, Mr. Baker.
Mr. Blaker, if you can hear us, you could also hang up and call back in, and that would clear out your mute button if you're unable to do that.
I can call him back in again. He doesn't have the link.
Okay.
I'll do that. Pardon the delay.
We heard him at one time.
Hello, this is Mr. Blaker.
Welcome. Sorry, we had a little technical difficulties there. The floor is yours if you'd like to tell us briefly why the recommendation of the legislative hearing officer is you're looking for an exception or deviation to that.
This is Mr. Blaker. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you to the members of the committee for allowing me to speak on behalf of Ms. Tay. I heard earlier in the discussions the difficulties of finding affordable housing and keeping affordable housing. We're requesting that Ms. Tay get an extension of 90 days to work to find another contractor, a better contractor that can get this job done, as well as the proper funding for it, so that the city of St. Paul can have another house available during this crunch. Ms. Tay has made significant steps in getting repairs. In fact, she's had it inspected by both the electrical inspector and the plumbing inspector this week. Although there were a couple of minor issues outstanding, the majority of it had been fixed or tended to. She has had an issue working out an inspection with the HVAC inspector. She's had work done, but been unable to have him come and inspect it. She's also had an issue getting hold of Mr. Nathan Brune, the building inspector, to come and inspect the entire property. She called on 3 different occasions and left voicemails and has not gotten a response. Additionally, one of the permitting issues she's run into is that the money and permit were mistakenly issued for 651 Sherburne and not 657 Sherburne. So she has been making significant strides in getting this home repaired and getting it up to code for citizens of St. Paul for them to come and rent.
Mr. Tao has a question.
Thank you, Council President. Is it Mr. Blaker, right? Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Blaker,
Correct.
It's been quite a while for Mrs. T to get this off the vacant building list, and you say she's been making strides. I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Making strides towards getting it fixed. She's had contractors come in. She's pulled permits to get the electrical work done. She's pulled permits to get the plumbing work done. A lot of that work has been done. Those are the strides, the significant steps she's taken towards getting that house up to code.
Okay, and this is for Ms. Mormon. When she pulled those inspections, do we get notification that it's being inspected, or does that come afterward, Ms. Mormon?
I did check this afternoon on the status of those permits, and the plumbing permit was inspected June 22nd. There are corrections required. The electrical permit was inspected on June 21st. Corrections are required. There are no other permits. Ms. T has had some bureaucratic troubles and difficulty following the instructions in the letters and the forms that have been provided, providing lock boxes, where to deliver and drop off things, and so on. So there's been some confusion on her part, so I think that that's probably led to complications in connecting with people. So at the time of the legislative hearing, she had made no attempt to communicate with Mr. Brune or Iannarelli, who would have been the building inspectors, and that would have been the timing necessary.
Okay, and Ms. Mormon, if we grant her an extension, does she have to repost the $5,000 into the program?
If the City Council wants to grant additional time for the development of plans that may lead to an additional grant of time, I would recommend that the council forfeit the $5,000 that's currently been posted and require that an additional $5,000 to $10,000 performance deposit be put into place. The council in Chapter 33 has the authority to do this. I think that there are consequences for not following through, and so grievously not following through on the abatement of this significant nuisance condition. And given that commitment, that would say that there is good faith effort on her part to engage in a conversation to put together plans. Again, the signed contract that you saw before with a general contractor was not followed. The money that was shown to the council, I don't know what happened to it. So all of these things need to be redeveloped and reevaluated, and I think if you're hitting the reset button, then I think you haven't had to do this in a number of years, but I have recommended historically that when we get to this place that you forfeit bond and require new additional bond to be put into place.
Thank you, Ms. Mormon. Mr. Blaker, is this the only property that your client have in St. Paul?
I do not believe it's the only property she has. It is the only one that's currently condemned and potentially being raised.
Okay.
Actually,
Thank you.
there's two in front of the city council that are owned by Ms. T. There's a 318 Edmund, I believe, that is also similarly situated, but not in front of you today.
Thank you, Ms. Mormon. No further question.
All right, is there anything else from the attorney or the homeowner?
We do state that if the 90 days is granted, the additional $5,000 bond is acceptable, but that the forfeiting the first $5,000 bond, especially if these, if she's able to complete the fixes to the house, is excessive.
All right, thank you very much for your testimony. Mr. Tom moves to close the public hearing. Roll call.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brenman.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The public hearing is closed.
Mr. Tao.
Thank you, Council President. I moved to extend 90 days as requested by the property owner, but I would reissue the $5,000 bond. And this is, you know, a property owner that know their responsibility. You're in this industry, so you still got to be responsible for your property. And I know that her attorney talked about affordable housing, but you know, we also want accountable landlord who it's also, you know, taking responsibility to fix up their property. I don't live too far from that house, and so we're working really hard to clean up the neighborhood, and I really appreciate Mrs. T investing in St. Paul, but at the same time, I think it's really fair that we give her the 90-day but for her to reissue the bond, and our office is here to stand by to help you any way we can. But let's get this thing going and let's put that house back to use.
Great. So to clarify, Mr. Tao is granting an extension of 90 days per the request, but reissuing a new $5,000 bond. Any discussion on that motion? Ms. Naker?
Can I just clarify, Council President and Councilmember Tao, are we saying that the $5,000 that was originally paid would be forfeited and another $5,000 bond would be required? I'm not sure I understand what reissue means. Maybe Ms. Mormon can clarify.
Correct.
Okay.
Maybe reissue is not the right terminology.
I might have biffed that one.
I'm just confused too.
Ms. Mormon?
I would like to ask a clarifying question. If the council were to grant a 90-day extension, that extension would be granted without the benefit of having evidence of financing sufficient to execute the rehab or any work plan in place to demonstrate the capacity to do the work, which traditionally you look for before you give a grant of time. Are you granting the time in the absence of those, or are you saying that they have 90 days in which to develop those? If you are, I would perhaps say give them a month to develop those and bring it back to City Council to consider a 90-day grant of time. I'm concerned of setting a precedent of you granting time without having those component pieces in front of you when you look at those for other properties in the same situation. So I would say strongly that you should see evidence of a contractor and ability to pay the contractor before you say, here's some time to do the work, if you would. So I would say, if I may ask then for the motion to be to amend the resolution to forfeit the $5,000 performance deposit, require another $5,000 performance deposit, refer the matter back into legislative hearing for the development of the plans, and have you see the matter again in 30 days.
Okay.
And you can see if the plans that they're giving you are adequate to give that 90-day grant of time then.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
I did it already.
This is Mr. Blaker with Morris Law Group again. We'll be working with Ms. Tay in order to work out a financing agreement
Thank
for
you.
that.
Thank you. We did close a public hearing, Mr. Blaker, so we're talking amongst ourselves at the moment. If Mr. Tao has a question, he'll ask.
I apologize.
No problem. I heard Ms. Mormon make a recommended suggestion on your amendment. It looked like you were agreeable to that. I'm looking to Mr. Tao.
Yeah, I'm as I recall, that's what we've done in the past. So I prefer what Ms. Mormon has proposed.
All right, and so perhaps then back to us, it looks like exactly 30 days is July 23rd. Correct?
Yeah.
So back to the council. All right. So moved by Mr. Tao. Any discussion on that revised motion? All right, seeing none, roll call.
Yang,
Aye.
Jalali,
Aye.
Naker,
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Tao,
Aye.
Tolbert,
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, none opposed. The resolution is amended and it is laid over to, actually the date would be either July 21st or 28th. Which would you prefer? 28th would be a little additional to the 30 days.
All right, Mr.
I
Tao looks
would-
agreeable.
I'd say 28.
All right, to the 28th of clarifying that. Sorry, I said the wrong
Okay.
date. Okay. Is that the final public hearing?
Yes.
Okay. I know everyone's wanting to go to news from the wards, but no. Ms. Jalali moves suspension of the rules. Roll call.
Yang.
Aye.
Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Okay, Ms. T, I'm
Prince?
gonna hang up now.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The rules are suspended. Resolution 21-957, honoring Hua Zhang Kim for her years of service for the City of St. Paul and the Ward 5 Council Office, and proclaiming Wednesday, June 23rd as Hua Zhang Kim Day in the city.
It's a very self-explanatory title, and it was bittersweet news that Huazhang is heading off upwards and onwards. Oh my goodness.
Spearheaded by owner Richard L. Morris, the experienced team at Morris Law Group is dedicated still.
That was not part of our plan. If you thought we put music to this, Huazhang, I am sorry, we did not. But but I would appreciate the opportunity to read the resolution. I think it speaks in a lot of ways for itself. And then if folks would like to add contributing remarks for this fine day, Huazhang Kim Day in St. Paul, we'll open it up for comments. But first, from the resolution, whereas Huazhang Kim is from South Korea and was born in Daegu to Taekwon Kim and Sang-ok Lee, and whereas Huazhang was raised in Independence, Minnesota, attended Hamline University in St. Paul, and graduated in 2008 with a BA in English. And whereas Hua-jung moved to Ward 5 in the North End in 2011 with Stephen Carlson and Kepler and Zora, and whereas Hua-jung began her career to advance affordable housing options at both Habitat for Humanity and the Minnesota Home Ownership Center, and was part of the 2016-2017 cohort of the Boards and Commissions Leadership Institute, or BCLI, at Nexus Community Partners. And whereas Hua-jung was elected to serve on the North End Neighborhood Organization, NINO, in 2016, and worked creatively and authentically on community engagement, and among other things, planned the Youth Summit at McDonough Rec, which was the kickoff for NINO's first Youth Advisory Committee. And whereas Hua-jung was appointed to the St. Paul Planning Commission in October of 2017, and also served on its zoning committee. And whereas Hua-jung brought her vast experience and joyful energy to St. Paul's 5th Ward 5 Council office as legislative aide for Council President Amy Brenmone in July 2018. And whereas Hua-jung has been a leader in engaging North End neighbors and stakeholders in advancing the future North End Community Center from the early stage of site design, and then partnering with the St. Paul Youth Commission to lobby for funds at the Minnesota Legislature. Whereas Hua-jung co-chaired the North End Community Development Team, which serves as the de facto community development center for the North End, and has delivered over $1 million in economic development funds to local businesses with an emphasis on BIPOC-owned and women-owned shops. And whereas Hua-jung is a steadfast champion for women and girls of color and has sought out any and all opportunities to support programs, events, and activities that support these future leaders, including with St. Paul Parks and Rec, the Karen Football Association, and In Progress. And whereas Hua-jung played a central role in key citywide equity initiatives, including leading district council system reform, helping create and administer the City Council's first ever Community First Public Safety Fund, promoting greater equity and inclusion for Asian American community members, and more. Whereas through her tireless efforts and can-do attitude, Hua-jung has become a valued and respected public servant by countless staff, community partners, and elected leaders throughout her career at the City of St. Paul. Whereas now, also as a result of her hard work and demonstrated talent, Hua-jung has been hired as the new Executive Director for Minnesota Voice, where she will take her skills and passion to the next level at a statewide stage. Therefore, be it resolved, in honor of her outstanding leadership and commitment to equity throughout her years of service in the city, the St. Paul City Council recognizes June 23rd, 2021 as Hua-jung Kim Day in St. Paul and wishes her the best in all of her future endeavors. Yay. I don't know. Let's see if folks want to first chime in, and then we'll give the mic over to Hua-jung. Does anyone have anything to add to that lovely resolution? And thanks to my colleagues who helped write it. Mr. Tao.
Thank you, Council President. Hua-jung, congratulations. Really gonna miss working with you. You're just full of energy. You're super smart. Very thoughtful, and this is the work that got us working together with the gun violence on the North End. And you're very brave. You knock on doors that I would like, I don't know, I'm not sure if I can knock on that door, but it just goes to show your passion for St. Paul and your willingness to sacrifice your time away from your family to do what's right, to bring the community together. And I know that the North End, we're not where we need to be yet, but I know that we wouldn't be where we are today without your leadership, without your tireless effort and bringing the people together, the businesses. So I hope that even though you move away from this capacity, you still continue to invest in the North End, continue to be involved in government and city politics in different ways, and to help the city. So one thing I also learned from you is, you're very respectful of other people, and you're a hard worker. And you taught me, I was on a Korean flight, and you taught me Amida, right? Like the way to honor you is like, Hua-jung, you're the best, Amida. And so I've used that, and you're very deserving of that today. So thank you, Hua-jung Kim, Amida.
Thank you, Mr. Tao. Ms. Prince. Oops, might want to hit that mute button.
Appropriately muted. I just want to say, Wajang, what a shame it is that just as we're about to go back to work, you will be leaving us, so that it is as if we haven't worked together quite a bit longer than this. But I want to wish you well at Minnesota Voice. What an amazing job. And I can't think of a better person to lead that work in Minnesota. So thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Prince. Ms. Yang?
Thank you. Hwa-jang, I'm so happy for you, and I'm really excited for your next chapter at Minnesota Voice. They're a really wonderful organization, super lucky to have you. I want to say thank you for being such a wonderful mentor to both Dia and then also Chris, as Chris transitioned into be our Ward 6 LA. I know that they've learned so much from you. I have also learned so much from you too, even prior to me coming on board as a council member. I met you when I was an organizer doing work in the community and working on campaigns. And everywhere you go, I feel like you just really brighten up people's days. And you're really someone who is so authentic and deeply caring of other people as well, just like how you are to yourself. And so thank you for modeling such a great way of being for all of us. And I'm really excited to continue working with you in the future here.
Thank you, Ms. Yang. Ms. Naker and then Ms. Jalali.
Thanks, Council President. Hwa-jang, this is so bittersweet. I wish we were in person. I'm going to miss you so much. It's hard to add to what's already been said. I'm thrilled for you at this new opportunity. And I want to thank you for all of the joy that you have brought to the council. When I think about what will be most missing when you're gone, it's just that joy, even on days when joy may not have been the main thesis word of the day. And your sense of humor and your fashion sense. Just really, really appreciate all of that about you and so much more. So thank you for brightening up our lives while you've been here, and look forward to staying in touch.
Ms. Jalali.
Yeah, I just feel so grateful we could have this important resolution, because I wanted to commemorate the work that you've done. I think you've been a part of so many things, Hwa-jang, big and small, citywide, and Ward 5. And you have really been just an outstanding, exceptional staffer, helping run the council president's office, which is so much bigger than just a regular legislative aides job. You are a part of so much community work, and you are just a very formidable leader. And I am really, really proud to see you take this step. I am really excited to see you grow. I've already told you, I know I'm going to work with you in the next job, because you're going to be building power with all of us for our constituents who deserve representation in every way politically. And I'm just I'm so thrilled to see you make this transition, and we'll be rooting for you. And you know where to find me if you need me. So thank you for being just incredible. And I'm very, very happy that we have a Hwa-jang Kim Day in St. Paul.
Mr. Tolbert.
Just want to say congratulations to you on your new endeavor. They are very lucky to gain someone of your caliber and abilities, and I look forward to it. And I think Councilmember Jalali hit the note right, is you're not just a legislative aide, but you're a legislative aide to the council president, which is a lot of added responsibility of trying to keep a bunch of very independent-minded and stubborn elected officials in line, or at least somewhat organized. And it's near impossible, but you guys have done a really good job. And I will say, I think some of us have lost legislative aides over I wouldn't say lost, have moved on to bigger and better things just like this, as you should. And I know Council President Bren Moen will miss you a lot, because I suspect, like all of us with our legislative aides, it's a near multi-daily conversations that you're having, and a trusted confidant, and someone who becomes a near family member to you. And I'm sure she'll miss you a lot, but we will definitely miss you around here. And I think once we're all come back in person, you're going to have to come down and visit us, and we can have a proper council party to celebrate your new endeavors. Good luck and keep serving the public as you always have. I know you will, and you'll be great.
Mr. Tao.
Yeah, just one more thing to add. Hajrong, if you in the future have to do candidate screening, any one of us, you don't have to go easy. All right, just like go there.
You're already letting her off the hook. Great. And I'm going to turn it over to Hua-Jung. But before that, just say, as I said, the resolution said a lot about your accomplishments, but doesn't say a lot about our close friendship and relationship and how we've worked arm in arm through ups and downs and really advanced a lot of things that are small and almost invisible, and a lot of things that are large and important. So when you hire a shining star like Hua-Jung Kim, the risk is always that someone else is going to notice that shining star. And we always know that upwards and onwards is like the way to go. So I'm very, very happy for you, and I'll miss you. But as you've said to me many times, it's just good night and not goodbye. Well, you're not going anywhere. And so we're going to keep rocking on in the North End, just in a different capacity. So thank you for your service, and happy Hua-Jung Kim Day. Hua-Jung.
Thank you. I promise to not be your pickiest constituent. Yeah, it's just an incredible honor. I mean, for those of you that know my journey, I think having a day that recognizes you in namesake is just a very deep honor. And it's also just incredibly meaningful to hear my parents' names spoken into the space of power. They're from very humble beginnings and endings, and I don't really know how I'm going to describe this to my dad, but I'm going to do my best. But I know that I've made them proud for sure. I'm convinced that the council, it has the greatest impact on the daily lives of its residents. And this work has just been so humbling. The learning curve was huge. I still think even as I close in on 3 years at the city, the learning curve would continue. But I've just been so lucky to have worked alongside of you. I'm also convinced that the city doesn't have a group of harder working staff than on the council operations and in the ward offices. And shout out to all my fellow aides. You cease to amaze me with your dedication and persistence. It can be a really thankless job, even though our council members are always so grateful for our work, but it's hard work. So I just shout out to all of you. You're kind of the stalwart protectors of all the great things that are happening in St. Paul. I met Amy like 5 years ago on one of your infamous lake laps, and I was a North End resident that kind of wanted to be more involved, and she pointed me in the direction of my North End neighborhood organization, and I served there, got appointed to the Planning Commission, and had the opportunity to use those skills in the ward office. And it's just been such a blast. My first full year was your campaign year, and I think we spent basically all but 8 hours a day together. It was still, thank you for feeding me that year, by the way. It was just incredible. But I would just say to anyone out there that, take a chance having a conversation with your council member. You never know where it will take you. And for me, it actually brought me right into City Hall. So I'm just really incredibly grateful for that lake lap 5 years ago, and you answering all those questions about like, how does someone like me get involved with things and where do I start? So I think you really helped set me on the path and gave me a really strong shove, in fact, which has been just incredibly meaningful. Yeah, I think the work is hard, but the friendship is strong. It's been just a really rockin' 3 years with Amy. Councilmember Nick, you just talked about choosing joy. There are days that were hard, and the next day, I get that from Amy. The next day she'd walk in just like ready to go, and she'd say, today I'm choosing joy. And that would be kind of the mantra. So it's just been kind of one of those motivating things, I think, that has just kept me chugging. It's been a really hard year. But again, just incredibly grateful for the honor. And just as a point of personal privilege, I want to say hi to Grandma Gail. Hi, Grandma Gail, I love you. And to my nieces and nephews, Violet and Isla and Theo and Ezra, I love you very much. And Ezra, happy early 2nd birthday. I love you all very much. Yeah. Thank you. It's been an honor. Thank you so much.
Mr. Tolbert. Okay.
I meant correct clapping. I hit.
We're all getting so good at this, hearts and clapping and other things. Hwa-jung, we'll make good on the premise to do something in person. And maybe when you can come and see the murals that you helped us change out in our council chambers, and then maybe make Rebecca and Jane happy and go do trivia night someplace and show your stuff, But anyways, as you can tell, you will be missed. You are very respected and loved. And we thank you for your service. Happy Hwa-jung Kim Day. Wonderful. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Does anyone
We do still need to vote on that.
Oh, God, should we? Should we? All right. So moved by Ms. Jalali. Any discussion on the motion? All right. Seeing none, roll call.
Yang. Now try.
Right now.
Yep.
Okay. Jalali.
Aye.
Naker.
Aye.
Prince.
Aye.
Tao.
Aye.
Tolbert.
Yes.
Council President Brenmon.
Aye.
7 in favor, no one opposed. The resolution is adopted.
All right. And now before we adjourn, just want to check and see if we have news from the wards or little shout outs or things we'd like to share. Ms. Prince.
And I am going to share my screen. Here it comes. And on behalf of us East Side Council members, but also as the chair of the library board, I just want to let everybody know about this weekend's celebration at Arlington Hills from 1 to 4 p.m. Arlington Hills Rec and Library. We have that wonderful sign on the outside of the building that says we belong together. And man, after COVID, we are getting back for this summer celebration. And you can see that there are a number of activities, drones and robotics with Minnesota STEM, bubbles and juggling by Russell Harris, St. Paul Saints game tickets giveaway, youth and family vaccine clinic with the Minnesota Twins. It just goes on and on. So it's at Arlington Hills at Payne in Maryland this Saturday, June 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for reminding us of the screen share option. That's a great tool. Mr. Tolbert.
I have a couple things here. I will start by saying tonight, Ryan Companies is hosting a meeting regarding housing options at the site, Twin Cities Habitat for Humanity, Widener Apartments, Presbyterian Homes and Services, Project for Pride and Living, Common Bond, Coldwell Banker. All the folks will be on to present kind of where options. I have heard so much excitement about people who want to live on the site. This is the place to go get those questions answered. So I know some of you might be looking to move to Ward 3 of my colleagues, but if people are listening, tonight is a virtual open house by Ryan Companies. More importantly, well, not more, equally as important, we do have to recognize another member of our staff today. Sherry Moore this past weekend won the Clerk of the Year Award for the Minnesota City Clerk and Finance Officers Association.
Oh.
I think we should recognize that. We all know that you're the best clerk out there. I'm glad the state of Minnesota is also recognizing that. So if we can give her a round of applause for her accomplishments, we appreciate it. And we are lucky to have you every week in the St. Paul City Council. Congratulations on your award.
And that you had the opportunity to get that award in person, right?
Yes,
Yep.
I did. It was
Yeah.
awarded to me last year, but I didn't actually get it till this past week.
Yeah, so that's cool. So you get to get the crowd was there, the cheering was there, and no, congratulations. I think those are the types of when you get those awards, you don't want them mailed to you. You want to be in the room of your peers getting the cheer. So congratulations, Sherry. You do a great job. All right, I do not see other hands up. I will just remind people, I've said it a couple times today, but next Wednesday is the 5th Wednesday, so the council does not convene. It is a good time to scram. Because we will be meeting the first week of July as scheduled. But next week again is the 5th Wednesday. So folks who would normally turn into the council meeting can take a week off and we will reconvene in the first week of July. Enjoy your 4th. Thank you very much for your hard work today. As always, it's a lot. Thanks. We are adjourned.
Thanks.